Against drunk driving. Aztecs back tonight after that thrilling win over Boise State on Saturday night in triple overtime. They're in Nevada taking on the Wolfpack, who are 11-3. That game is at 8 o'clock. Schaefer will be on the call. Fletch will get you on the pregame starting at 7. Of course, you hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Nevada is currently a 1.5 point favorite with the point total set at 141.5. And the Falcons have reworked Kirk Cousins' deal. Sets up a key decision on the third day of the NFL New Year. Otherwise, $68 million will be guaranteed. He will either be cut or traded. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
The NFL is set, but we have some differences of opinion.
Explain to me why it's not Brock Purdy's fault.
And it was Brock Purdy's fault. He played terrible.
Good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
But I don't think he's going to be the reason they don't get to the Super Bowl. I'm glad that that's where you're deciding to go with this, Sammy. And the defense played like dog poop.
You're putting more blame on the defense for scoring 3 points at home.
Yeah, because there wasn't a fourth quarter, Sammy. The entire fourth quarter was held up by the Seahawks with the football.
And the college football playoff semis start later this week. Who will meet up in South Beach for the championship? San Diego State is back after Saturday's wild game. Can the Scarlet and Black grab another Mountain West win? Plus,
Tate Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons, more than 27.5 points.
It's the truth.
Joel Embiid, more than 25.5 against Denver tonight.
Well, I got it right here. Yeah.
And Dylan Brooks playing his old team in Houston, less than 18.5.
Yes, you heard correctly.
I like it. We need a winner here to kick off Monday, our first full week of 2026.
now live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's the Flex Zone.
With a big winner last night. How about that? CJ giving him some props. Let's all give him some props. What did the streamers say, Sammy? Is it W's in the chat?
W's in the chat, bro.
W's in the chat for a long shots winner. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We got you for the next couple of hours. And if you were tailing long shots last night, we had a big winner, so we're all a little bit richer today. We love to see it. All right, we got a lot going on today. Benjamin Allbright is going to be joining us in hour number 2. If you don't recognize the name, you would if we were in Denver. He's one of the top radio guys out there. He works for the flagship station of the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, the 1 seed in the AFC. Sammy and I haven't necessarily been the nicest people in the world to the Denver Broncos over the season. We'll go to the scene of the crime and see how Benjamin Allbright feels about the Denver Broncos heading into the NFL postseason. That's coming up at 1:30 today. At 12:30, Sammy and I will give our 5 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl here in this year, 2026, as we get going with the NFL postseason this weekend. And I'm sure there'll be lots of other fun and hijinks along the way, including the fact that the Stranger Things finale was a fake finale. What? What? Is there a new episode dropping tomorrow? Evidence points to maybe. We'll get into it
Where
as the
have
show
you
goes
seen
on.
that?
Everywhere, Sammy. Our algorithms are very different. All right, but I did want to start here. So yesterday was Black Monday in the NFL, right? Head coaches fired all over the place. We saw guys like Kevin Stefanski lose their job, Pete Carroll lose their job, and the list goes on and on. But today is the day that a bunch of coordinators got fired. So I looked to the Washington Commanders. I looked to a guy named Cliff Kingsbury, who's one of those up-and-coming offensive minds. He had the stint as the head coach with the Arizona Cardinals. It didn't go so well. And then he disappeared to Thailand for a few years with a smoking hot girlfriend who was taking pictures of each other on the beach. It was crazy. But Cliff Kingsbury all of a sudden becomes one of the hottest candidates because he wasn't just fired from the Washington Commanders. He and Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, decided to part ways mutually. And that's the report we're getting out. Now, a lot of times when you hear, oh, the breakup was mutual, one person broke up with the other person. But in the NFL, I think there's a real chance here. Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury sat down and said, look, the season didn't go how we thought it was going to go. Last year, this team was in the NFC Championship game. This year, don't even make the playoffs. But you got some excuses. Quarterback was hurt for a ton of the season and Jaden Daniels. The defense never really panned out. The Washington Commanders, it was sort of a doomed season from the start, which is why Dan Quinn is keeping his job as the head coach. Otherwise, this was a fireable season if you just based it off of record alone and the expectations that were coming in off of last season. But the Cliff Kingsbury thing is interesting to me because I think Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn probably met and Dan Quinn said, you could probably get a head coaching job, probably somewhere nice, maybe the New York Giants.
Well, so that's, I think, where your head goes because you're looking at an offensive-minded coordinator. So they're interviewing, it just broke, Lou Anarumo, the former Bengals defensive coordinator who gave Mahomes some problems when he was with the Bengals that first time in the AFC Championship game. Then he went on to be the Colts DC. They're interviewing him for the head coaching job in New York. Now, Anarumo's a good coach, but if I'm the Giants,
if I'm the Giants, it is Stefanski or it's Kingsbury, and I'm not going anywhere else.
Like, why would you go with a defensive-minded head coach when you have all this young talent? Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboom, Malik Neighbors, the top 5 pick in the draft. There's a lot to work with here, and you're going to go with the defensive-minded head coach. But to your point about Kingsbury, I think Kingsbury looks around and goes, "Wait, so the top coordinators, Anarumo, Steve Spagnuolo, and Jesse Minter are all defense. The league is moving offense. Brian Daboll right now is the best offensive mind. He just got fired from New York.
Kevin Stefanski's out there now.
Kevin
the Browns, remember, Kevin Stefanski was a 2-time coach of the year of the NFL when he was with Cleveland. I think he was there for like 8, maybe 7 or 8 seasons. Won coach of the year twice, got the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs for the first time in forever. So Kevin Stefanski, I think he's a very good head coach, and he's an offensive guy, and he's out there. So I think Kingsbury and him are the 2 options for teams with young quarterbacks.
I think the biggest miss of all the firings was a guy that didn't get fired. I cannot believe that Zach Taylor still has a job. And I understand that the Bengals season went down the drain when Burrow got hurt and all this, but the Bengals are still living off beating the Chiefs in the 2021 AFC Championship game and getting to the Super Bowl. Like that's why he still has a job. It's if I'm a Bengal fan, if I'm about Joe Burrow, if I'm about who's already had all these weird press conferences about finding joy for the game, kind of throwing it out there, knowing it's going to cause some trade drama, but then he's like, I want to stay in Cincinnati, but when there's smoke, there's fire. You're not going with a new kind of to inject life into that franchise when they haven't got the defense right. The defense has been abysmal. The only time it was good was when Lou Anarumo was there as the defensive coordinator. I don't understand that how Zach Taylor still has a job, especially in his own division. Like we talked about for months, Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh, will they both be fired? And obviously Mike Tomlin's, I don't think, because you go into the playoffs and all reports are John Harbaugh's going to stay. Zach Taylor's the guy that gets to keep his job. I can't believe that.
I think it's a little bit of who you're going to go get. But also with the Bengals, like I do think quarterback getting hurt gives you an automatic exemption. And so Joe Burrow, and not to mention it's the Bengals who don't really like to spend money. All right, we're going to get to the big 3 in just a second here. Our buddy Jay Silves on YouTube saying Nevada slightly favored tonight against the Aztecs. Yeah, that's true. And I got some thoughts on that. And I actually think it's a good thing for San Diego State. It opens up a couple doors that they could definitely charge through here tonight. But let's get to the big 3 here of our number 1, where Sammy rips through some of the top headlines in the world of sports, fast and furious like Vin Diesel. Here we go, Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers. It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
If you want to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do it. On YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, on X at Fletch and Sammy. W's in the chat because Sammy won us on long shots last night. Made us all some money.
You know what song we're playing at 12:45 as well?
Here comes the money, money, money. Oh no, Shake Your Money Maker.
Yeah, that's a fantastic song too, though.
All right, where are we going in sports?
We're actually into the NBA. This broke after our show. Trae Young and his agents are working with the Atlanta Hawks to find a deal. He will be playing elsewhere for this season. So up on the screen right now, they're actually 2-8 with him this season. The Hawks have been 15-12 without him. Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker have really stepped up. But this NBA trade deadline as a whole, you got Trae Young, you got Giannis potentially on the move, you got Anthony Davis potentially on the move. How many of those guys do you think actually gets dealt at the trade deadline?
I'm hoping for 2 out of 3. I don't care about Anthony Davis. I feel like his time has come and gone. It would be awesome to see Giannis get moved. I think he wants out. They want him out. They understand that this time is coming to an end. If Giannis gets moved to a contender, that's good for me. Trae Young, if we can talk about him for a second, is there a more entertaining dude in the NBA postseason than Trae Young?
They call him Ice Trae for a reason.
And people hate him and people love him. Trae Young is wildly entertaining to watch. He makes big shots. I would love to see him go to a contender somewhere. I will say it was a good day for the NBA yesterday. They had some serious headlines out. Look, it's tough to compete in the sports world right now during the NFL postseason, but the NBA with Steve Kerr getting ejected and Steph Curry going to the podium afterwards saying, yeah, if Steve didn't, I was, on a clear missed call by the referee where the ball absolutely touched the backboard, but that's neither here nor there. The NBA had themselves a noteworthy day on Black Monday of the NFL when coaches are getting fired. NFL postseason coming up, and all I was reading was NBA yesterday.
And as a whole, like the NBA, everyone kind of, now the Thunder are still the favorites, but quietly, Thunder 6-6 in the last 12 games. They got blown out by the Hornets last night. All of a sudden, the Los Angeles Clippers, who were left for dead, Kawhi Leonard, former San Diego State Aztec,
Averaging like 40 a game all of a sudden.
They've won 7 of 8. You got the Warriors. What's going on there? Steve Kerr losing it. And then this team's with Trae Young. Trae Young, I definitely think will be dealt because Atlanta's moving younger, and they actually have a lot of young talent. But Trae Young's interesting because he's an extremely cold player, and he's the most hated man in New York. He has buried the Knicks time and time again. He's great in the playoffs. Now, if you're trading for Trae Young, he's small. He doesn't play defense. He's just an elite scorer. So there's some deficiencies there where you're looking at, do we want to give up a ton of draft picks and capital for a guy who doesn't play both ways in the NBA? But he is an absolute star. He's only 26, 27. He was actually in the Luka Doncic draft. They got traded for each other, if you remember, on draft night. But in terms of the Giannis, Anthony Davis, I think Anthony Davis will get moved. Obviously, he's a tier below Trae Young and certainly Giannis at this point. But because the Mavs are moving younger, I kind of think it depends on the Kyrie Irving timeline. If Kyrie comes back, maybe they try to run it, but I don't see that team really going too far. Giannis is the interesting one. So Trae Young, I believe, will get moved because Atlanta, they're working with him now. I think it just makes sense for Atlanta. The Bucks, there's always been this thing of, especially if you're a small market team, regardless of sport, regardless of baseball, basketball, a little bit less than the NFL, but in baseball and basketball, you don't trade a generational superstar. Well, Giannis's trade value is at an all-time high. The more you wait, the more years you let go by, it's just going to decrease trade value, and he's eventually going to leave from Milwaukee. So if I'm these teams, I'm trading all 3 and trying to see what you can get back. They're all smaller market teams outside of Dallas, but certainly sets up for a fun NBA trade deadline. All right, let's head to the college football playoffs. So the Lane Kiffin saga continues. So Thursday night, Ole Miss taking on Miami. The big question after they upset Georgia last week was there's 6 staffers on Ole Miss who are going to LSU to coach. Now, signing day just happened. Everyone's trying to get their players, so they think that they'd one of those guys. Kiffin is allowing the offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss, and the running backs coach to stay with Ole Miss for the Fiesta Bowl, but he's taking the other 4 who are not allowed to coach. I believe one was the D-line coach, one was the tight ends coach. What is your reaction to Lane Kiffin allowing some of them to stay, but not all of them?
Even just the phrasing of it, allowing. They're grown men, Sammy. This is weird. It's a weird storyline, and it's not Lane Kiffin's fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's not even necessarily the school's fault. It is college football's fault that this is even somehow allowed to be happening right now. I think it's chaos. I really do. I don't think it's fair to any player on the Ole Miss team. In fact, if I was on the Ole Miss team right now, I'm like, screw anybody who's going to LSU next year. Get out of here. We don't need you. We can do this just fine on our own because this is just getting ridiculous at this point. So, but the conversation of head coaches in college having all the control and having all the power, this is the embodiment of it because words like allow are being used on ESPN articles because words like allow are coming out of Lane Kiffin's mouth. I do think it's kind of absurd where we've gotten to with this whole storyline. And if I'm an LSU player, I'm kicking everybody out and saying, this is our team. We're going to go win a national championship on our own. We don't need you. Get the F out of my life.
And it's cool. It's cool seeing, again, I'm not going to backtrack. I backed Lane Kiffin when he went to LSU, so I'm going to stand by that. But it is cool for the players, to your point, of they're like, yeah, screw you. Like, no. Like, and apparently they were pissed that Lane Kiffin was trying to get on the Sugar Bowl broadcast, and Lane Kiffin apparently was going to be there, and he asked ESPN to be on the call, but they said no.
It's time to be quiet, Mr. Lane.
Right.
You did the thing, and no one blames you for doing the thing, but go do the thing.
But you got to live with now, if they go win a national championship, already at this point, it's a success for Ole Miss. If they go win this game and they somehow win a national championship, yeah, you're going to hear for a long time about, well, can this dude actually coach, or was it Pete Golding and Charlie Weiss who were doing it? And Charlie Weiss, I guess it's cool that he left the OC there because that would have thrown a complete wrench in the plans if you don't have your head coach and then you lose your offensive coordinator because Pete Golding, the head coach now, calls the defense. But it's such an interesting saga for a college football team that's kind of going on a Cinderella run to then have we never seen this. It all goes back to the college football playoff schedule. Why are you having signing days when the season is still going. The season should have been wrapped up January 1st. They really got to redo this whole schedule.
Right. It's not like there is some sort of immense pressure to get this all done right now. If the rules state that it can't happen until after the college football national championship, then it can't happen until after the college
Right,
football
and you
national
don't have these
championships.
problems.
Yeah, we're still months away, a couple months away at least, from spring camps opening up. So it's not like it needs to be done right now, which is what will infuriate me forever. But seriously, if you're Chambliss, if you're the quarterback for Ole Miss, are you not saying, hey, everybody who's leaving next year in the coaching staff, we can do it without you?
Right, we don't want you. And Chambliss and Lacey, who the LSU thought were going to try to get, just re-signed with Ole Miss, so they're not leaving.
Yeah, but the rest of the coaches, get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't want you here. This is going to be ours. We don't want your name attached to this trophy in any way, shape, or form.
I'm with you. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys always provide some fun material for talk show hosts.
You think Jerry could go playoff week and not get his name out there?
No.
Man.
Basically, it's just a little look behind the curtain. Whenever Fletch and I are like, we don't have anything to talk about, just look at what the Dallas Cowboys press conference is, and there'll be something.
Jerry went through his payroll and was like, all right, who can I fire?
Yeah.
Let's see. I need my name out there somehow. Hey, how do I say Eberflus? Is this how I say his name? Is it Eberflus?
So Ben said it. They fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, and basically Jerry went on a whole thing at the press conference about how he respects him, but they needed a change, and he's firing him. But the kind of overall question is this. At the end of the season, Dallas is done. Let's revisit the Micah Parsons trade in, what was that, August, September? What grade would you give it after the entire season, a season later?
A+. A+. Absolutely. Look, I made fun of it at the time, but first of all, and there's no way anyone could have known this, Micah Parsons got hurt at a pretty inopportune time of the season. Second of all, if Micah Parsons is on the Cowboys this year, is their record that much different?
No.
Maybe one more win.
Maybe they're a fringe playoff team.
Maybe one more win. But yeah, look what they got in return for him. It was a good trade, and we all have to come to terms with that. Now, the fact that Matt Eberflus got fired, I would like to stick on for a second, because this Cowboys defense outperformed what they should be. And they weren't good this year by any stretch of the imagination, but they were better than they should have been coming into the year. Matt Eberflus gets a real bad rap because of how it went when he was the head coach in Chicago. He was not a bad defensive coordinator in Chicago. That's the reason he got promoted to interim head coach. That's the reason he stayed on as the full-time head coach for the next season. So Eberflus goes to Dallas as kind of a castaway. Like, we all forgot his name after it didn't work as a head coach. There are plenty of defensive coordinators in the NFL who were awful head coaches but are brilliant defensive coordinators. Matt Eberflus had the Cowboys defense performing better than expected. I literally think this was Jerry Jones going, I need something to put out there so the Cowboys name gets mentioned this week. I'm going to go through here and find out what name people know that I can fire. And Matt Eberflus has popped up.
Well, and Eberflus,
someone's going to be happy to have him.
It's a lot like Pete Carroll. It was a lame duck hire because the Raiders knew that they weren't winning. They can lie to everyone at the press conference and the fan base. They knew damn well they weren't making the playoffs in that division. The Dallas Cowboys set Matt. Now, I'm not some big Matt Eberflus fan, but they set him up to fail. You trade the best player on the defense literally a week before the season. I mean, like, that's obviously going to impact the defensive coordinator and the plans going forward. I think in terms of the overall trade, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I actually got to give Jerry Jones some credit. We bagged Jerry Jones a lot, but to the point he did make. Now, he said a lot of stupid stuff like, you know, we need a pass rusher. It's like, okay, well, don't go say that. Like, obviously,
traded Micah Parsons.
But the one thing Jerry said through all the nonsense is the defense wasn't good with him. There's something, it's like a lot like the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. The defense sucks because there's no talent anywhere else. So I give him a lot of credit. Getting Quinnen Williams, like some of the moves they made at the deadline did make the defense much better. I don't think Matt Eberflus was the problem, but Mike Zimmer was an awful defensive coordinator, former Vikings head coach. Matt Eberflus, former Chicago head coach, gets fired now at the defensive coordinator spot. When is Jerry going to get the DC right? Because I got to give Schottenheimer some credit, but do we all think Schottenheimer's some genius head coach? I don't think so.
No. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We got a couple of fun texts that we'll respond to on the other side, as well as give you a little preview of tonight's San Diego State-Nevada game. John Silva said Nevada slightly favored tonight. I'm going to tell you why that's a good thing for the Aztecs. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John Schaefer will take over then. Speaking of John Schaefer, he's going to be out in Nevada tonight. Aztecs back on the court taking on the Wolfpack. 8 o'clock tip-off, 7 o'clock pregame. I'll take you from 7 to 8. John will take you after that. Should be a good game tonight. Nevada 3-0 in Mountain West play. Just narrowly escaped Fresno with a win earlier this week against the Fresno State Bulldogs. Should be a fun one coming up tonight, so stay tuned here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, let's get to the text line real quick before we get to that Aztecs game. 949. I'm going to mispronounce the name, but it's Veronica Bielik, something like that. That was Cliff Kingsbury's girlfriend out in Thailand.
Oh, shout out to our text line doing the research.
Yeah, just remembering those were some fun days during COVID, man. Cliff Kingsbury got fired from the Cardinals, and then all of a sudden he popped up randomly like 3 months later on a beach in Thailand.
Yeah, he's living fine.
Yeah,
remember,
just been living out
at the
there.
NFL draft when his house in Scottsdale, even Mahomes tweeted, was like, yo, I'm trying to get this. Like, it
Unreal.
Overlooked the mountain, huge pool. I was like, damn, Cliff.
949 also saying, Fletch, do you guys have tickets to the Aztecs Fresno State game or the San Diego Rodeo? We will have tickets to San Diego State Fresno State. We don't today, so keep listening this week. And for SD Rodeo, not on this station, but over on KGB every single morning. We're giving away tickets to the SD Rodeo, so go listen over there. I believe we're doing those around 9 o'clock. 858 says Marvin Lewis and Zach Taylor, both head coaches that have first names for last names, and both coached for way too long in Cincy because their ownership is incompetent. Who dey? Nah, it's who dat from our Saints fan from the 858.
Shout out to 858. Great text.
Zach Taylor probably could have been fired this year. I don't know how they get better or worse from him. Really, if Zach Taylor had a healthy Joe Burrow all year long, they might be a playoff team. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
I just feel like two coaches, Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott, both hold their teams back.
Potentially, yeah, especially you can use examples from this year, like the Tampa Bay Bucks with Todd Bowles, maybe one of the most injured rosters in the NFL. They won the game that they needed to win to get them in the playoffs.
Right.
It's just other stuff happened around them. So you can point to examples all over football this year where coaches have coached through injuries, and a lot of those guys are going to end up being on the Coach of the Year candidate.
Right, like
list.
Kyle Shanahan.
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
No, but Kyle Shanahan, they kept the defense around despite losing their top 3 players. Like that's on defense. So that's impressive. Like, what has Zach Taylor done to be like outside? Anyone can coach Joe Burrow. Literally give any coach Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Teagan's be like, hey, get a passing offense together.
You're probably scoring 35 points a game.
Right. It's
even
like,
if you call dumb plays all game long.
where do you make your hay? Where's the, like, we don't have all the talent, but my scheme works? I don't see that with Zach Taylor. And I agree with our 858 texter. It's like we've seen this terrible management for years with Cincinnati.
Marvin Lewis was there forever, and Andy Dalton was there forever.
And they get to the playoffs and lose every single year, and they would never do anything about it.
Right. All right. Let's get to this Aztecs basketball game tonight against Nevada. Sammy, do you have the line pulled up for this one?
It's Nevada favored by 1.5 in this one. So
that's perfect. We love that because the reason why San Diego State should beat Nevada. Nevada is interesting. They haven't played a crazy non-conference schedule. They get into Mountain West play, and they've been beating up on the bottom of the Mountain West until this past Saturday. If anyone missed it, Nevada traveled to Fresno State. Fresno State has been bad this year. Fresno State's going through a lot. They're going through head coaching changes. Last year, half their team quit towards the end of the season. It was chaos. But this year, Fresno State's really struggled to start the year. And Nevada goes into Fresno State expecting a 10, 15-point win, and they get out of there escaping with a 2-point win that really Fresno State should have won the game if you watch the end of it. So you put all that together, and it's like San Diego State probably should be favored by 4 or 5 points coming into tonight. They're not, because Nevada's 3-0 in conference play. This is a good thing for the Aztecs.
Great.
You can use every little bit of advantage you can get, and the fact that you're dogged in this one on the road means the world. I hope this line gets worse for the Aztecs. I hope it gets to
right,
plus
because if they
2.5,
win, they're
plus
moving up
3.5.
in the metrics automatically.
Exactly right. So when you start thinking about the long game, if they win this game by 10, 15 points, a game that they were underdogs in, and I don't know what KenPom has the final score predicted on. It's usually pretty close to whatever the Vegas line is. That's where Vegas gets their lines from. But San Diego State with a 10, 15-point win here tonight could do one of those catapults that John Schaefer says.
Also, like looking at Nevada kind of in depth, they got three players in double digits, but they play 10 guys. 10 guys get legit minutes, at least double-digit minutes every night. So kind of an interesting thing with to Fletch, your point, they haven't really beaten all the big dogs, but they do have a good record at 11-3. Aztecs kind of finally playing. We're taking out the Arizonas, the Baylor teams like that, and the Michigans, but finally playing a team that kind of goes as deep as they do. And we all known that the Aztecs bench is statistically one of the best in the country. I still believe that they're the highest scoring bench in the country. I don't know if that's the same after last night.
I believe they're the third best.
Okay. All right. Well, they're top 3. So we all know BJ Davis, the lethal scorers come off the bench. I think it comes down to what bench performs better tonight. I agree. I think it's great that the Aztecs are dogged on the road. And you kind of look at it and go, the Aztecs have been playing in a unique spot because outside of the game against Arizona and Michigan in Baylor, I believe they've been favored in almost every game of the season. And then we keep talking about it. They have the pressure of not only do you have to win, but you have to win by a certain amount to move up in the metrics. It's kind of fun that the Aztecs get to kind of play the underdog mentality going on the road, coming off a thrilling win over Boise State, even though it was a lot closer than we all would have liked it to be. That's going to motivate the team, and hopefully we kind of see the stars step up. We know BJ Davis is going to bring it, but looking at Miles Bird and Magoon Guath to really kind of get after it tonight.
No, the best win Nevada has all year by far was Boise State. They played in Nevada. It was Boise State's first game of Mountain West play. Something important to note about that, Javon Buchanan, who went off against San Diego State, had 20-something points, was the best game of his life by far. Had 2 points and only played about half the game against Nevada. So it's a little bit of a different scenario here. San Diego State going into Nevada, who's very tough at home. The Wolfpack is a Clune Arena, I believe it is. They play in a really tough environment in Reno. So San Diego State will have their work cut out for them. But to Jay Sill's point, it's a good thing that San Diego State is dogged coming into this game. And I'll tell you all about it coming up at 7:00 tonight. All right, quick break here on the other side. Top 5 most likely teams to win a Super Bowl in this NFL playoffs. We'll tell you coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Unbound.org. 8 o'clock tonight, Aztecs in Nevada taking on the Wolfpack. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Schaefer on the call. Fletch will get you on the pregame starting at 7. Nevada is currently a 1.5 point favorite with the point total set at 141.5. And the Cowboys have fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Jerry Jones said at a press conference that change was needed. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer will take over right after we get off the air. All right, Super Bowl odds are out. We will give them to you in just a second. I did want to say I got some DMs of people asking why the hell I thought Stranger Things wasn't yet over and that was a fake ending.
Why did you think
we'll find some time to explain that on the show today, but that is a thing that is sweeping the internet right now. It's called Conformity Gate, and I don't know if I'm totally bought into it, but the evidence is starting to pile up.
I think people are going to be pissed off if that's the thing.
Oh, if they pull it off, it'll probably become undisputed greatest television show of all time if they pull it off correctly. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they pull it off and tomorrow there's a real finale, then it's going to be insane. All right, right now, Super Bowl odds. Seattle Seahawks have the best, plus 330 to plus 400. I'm looking at Vegas Insider, which is they take all of them and put them together. So maybe some sports books have them different. Rams are second at plus 425. Broncos at plus 650. Patriots plus 900 to plus 1,000, somewhere in there. Philadelphia Eagles plus 900 to plus 950. Buffalo Bills plus 1,000. Houston Texans plus 1,200 to plus 1,300. Jags, same. Packers plus 2,200, Bears plus 2,200, Niners plus 2,500. Should take those odds. Steelers plus 5,000 and Panthers plus 20,000. They're giving the Panthers exactly zero shot to win the Super Bowl.
No one believes the Panthers are going to do anything.
But with that being said, Sammy, if you will, cue up some horns. We love our royalty-free NFL horns.
One day we're not going to have royalty-free.
Do not stricken those from the podcast, my people. We can leave those in. We will not get copyrighted. Let's give our top 5 teams to win the Super Bowl. You want me to start?
I want you to go first. Are we going 5 to 1?
We're going number 5 to number 1.
Okay, let's do it.
My number 5 team to win the Super Bowl this year is the Houston Texans out of the AFC. And they're not, what are they on the odds list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 on the odds list, so I'm not too far off, but they are going to be my number 5 team because of this fact and this fact alone. Defense can win a lot in the AFC postseason if you look this year. Like if their defense, say they get to an AFC championship game and it's, I don't know how the bracket will work out, but say it's against the Denver Broncos. What's that game going to look like? It's going to be, can CJ Stroud or Bo Nix make one play?
Right.
That might be what it comes down to. So Houston's defense, I have a ton of faith in, man. That defensive line is making everybody have problems this year. I do see the Houston Texans as a team who can kind of sneak their way through the AFC postseason. And if it gets to a AFC championship game, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that defense could probably carry them to a Super Bowl. So they're my number 5 team.
My number 5 team, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jaguars, I really feel like are not getting enough respect. And this is a team that, so they draw a tough first round matchup, certainly, with the Buffalo Bills. But Trevor Lawrence, like, they're on a heater. And any other team, Art Collin and Nick Wright talking about this earlier, any other team that has won, I believe it's like 7-8 straight games, close the season, and has dismantled the Chargers, dismantled the Broncos, dismantled the Chiefs when we thought the Chiefs were good, dismantled the 49ers, has beaten the Houston Texans. Their only losses have come to Cincinnati in week 2, the Rams, and Houston the other time. Like, this team is legit. They've only had one Pro Bowler. It's the long snapper, so they're very disrespected. They have one of the best run defenses in the entire league, which could fare well for them against Buffalo, who we know is going to try to run the football. I think Jacksonville is being really overlooked, just one of the teams that's actually good and has a shot, that no one really is giving a shot. They're my number 5 team right now, Fletch.
My number 4 team is going to be the Denver Broncos because of a lot of the reasons I gave for the Houston Texans. The AFC's in a weird spot, man. You have one team in the Buffalo Bills who have the offense that could definitely take them to a Super Bowl, but not the defense. Well, the Denver Broncos are one of 2 teams that have a defense right now that could take them to the Super Bowl on the AFC side. And there's not going to be any AFC teams in my top 3. So the Denver Broncos are my number 4. I lied about that. In my top 2, there's no AFC teams.
We top 2. All right. My number 4 team. It's going to shock some people. Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Seattle Seahawks have earned a lot of respect. They beat the Niners on Saturday. They beat the Rams a few weeks ago. And I believe in my guy, Sammy D. And I think they really do have a shot. I think the toughest matchup for the Seahawks will be the divisional round. Whether it's the Niners, whether it's the Rams, or whether it's the Packers. Whoever. I think they'd smoke the Panthers, but I don't think the Panthers are going to get through the Rams.
Poor Panthers, plus 20,000. If you feel really strongly about Bryce Young, put some money on him right now.
Yeah. If the Panthers have shown you anything, I guess they beat the Rams earlier this year, but I don't see it happening. Biggest spread of the weekend. The Seattle Seahawks, I think the biggest game, it's a lot like it compared to March Madness. The teams who are the 1 seeds, the hardest weekend is the first weekend because everyone's like, well, they're going to get out of the first weekend. They're not going to lose to a 16 seed or 8 or 9. In all the expectations, Sam Darnold, we have to see the big game in the playoffs. I firmly think they can do it. They have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. Mike McDonald, great running game between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I think they can, but they're number 4 because I think the path in the NFC is much harder than the AFC.
That is why my number 3 team is the Buffalo Bills. I hesitated even putting them on the list. But I do think if Josh Allen doesn't do it now, I don't know when he's going to do it. And he doesn't have a great defense. He doesn't have a great receiving core. But if there's the best player in the NFL postseason, it's Josh Allen for me. So if this isn't the year, I don't know when it is. So if we're going to see some sort of Superman-like effort, it feels like we're going to get it right now from Josh Allen. So the Buffalo Bills are my number 3.
Are you ready for my number 3?
Is it the Buffalo Bills?
No. Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles, they've given you every reason not to pick them. Every single one. The offense is dreadful. They can't get the ball to the receivers. What's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Why is Saquon not ripping off 80-yard rushing touchdowns? And yet they might have the best defense in football. And it's still going through the bank. Now, they're the 3 seed, but they're very well, and I'm not saying the Bears are going to lose, but the Bears-Packers is a pick-em game. The Bears could easily lose that game, and I could see Philly going into Seattle. I think the fact that the Rams don't have the 1 seed is a really big deal for Philly. The fact that I think a lot of this is going to run through the bank if they get by your Niners. Well, I see you getting itchy.
It's been a great rivalry.
I see you getting itchy over there. They have a tough first-round matchup. I will give them that. But I think until we say it in boxing, the UFC, to beat the champ, you got to knock them out. And they're still there, and I think they still have all the same roster. I'm giving the Eagles my 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl.
I think I'm going to throw some more money on the Niners today to win the Super Bowl. But with that being said, Sammy, I get your point, and that's probably where the Eagles should be right now if you think that the NFC lines up the way it does if there's no upsets. I like the Eagles in that position. I really do. My number 2 team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Dude, that defense is ferocious. That defensive line specifically is absolutely ferocious. And I look around the NFC, and to be frank, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line has gotten worse. That's why you're seeing a setback in production from both the tush push, from Jalen Hurts' rushing ability, from Saquon Barkley's rushing ability. The Rams offensive line is very good, but has gotten slightly worse from where they've been the last couple of years. The Niners offensive line is completely decimated. Seattle might have the best defensive line in all of football. Better than the Broncos, better than the Texans. Seattle might be able to ride that defensive line all the way. However, the reason they're number 2 and not number 1 is because I think Sam Darnold's going to throw a pick in a really bad spot. So the Seattle Seahawks are my number 2 most likely team to win the Super Bowl.
My number 2 team is Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's show, baby.
Well done.
It's his show.
God, you're setting him up to fail.
No, I'm giving him props right now.
Sammy's going to come on the day after the Super Bowl and say, see, I told you.
I'm very fair. Josh Allen, the Bills, I do think right now, if you said, Sammy, you got to pick a team, your life's on it, out of the AFC, I'd roll with Josh Allen. He's the best quarterback by far. He's the best quarterback in the field. They have an excellent running game with James Cook, and I will give them some credit. Look what they did against that the Philadelphia offense. And I know Philly has been bad recently on offense, but still, there's talent everywhere. The defense has been all right, but have we ever seen in the history of the NFL playoffs a 6 seed with more pressure on them? No, because Mahomes isn't there. We belabored the point. Joe Burrow's not there. Lamar Jackson ain't there. Those are the big 4 that we've always talked about, and 3 of them aren't there. So there's no excuses. The defense didn't show up. It's McDermott's fault. It's blah, blah, blah's fault. And I do think if the reason why I'm a little hesitant to pick the Bills is because I'm really concerned about the receiving core. I think their hardest game is actually the Jags. I think the winner of that game has a real inside track. I'm with you on Houston. I thought about putting them in my top 5, but I think the winner of the Jacksonville Bills game has a real inside track to go to the Super Bowl. It's Josh Allen's show. Is he going to elevate these receivers who are subpar to elite and he's going to get there? We'll see. Right now, I got the Bills at number 2.
My number 1 team, I'm kidding. It's the Los Angeles Rams, which by definition would mean Sammy and I both have the Bills and the Rams as our Super Bowl matchup. Your highest ranked AFC team was the Bills. My highest ranked AFC team was the Bills.
Well, I didn't say that yet.
My highest ranked NFC team was the Rams, and I guess you haven't said yours, but
it's the Rams. The Rams is my NFC team. I think that people are overreacting to the loss against Atlanta. That was kind of a throwaway game.
How about the loss against Carolina?
Huh?
How about the loss against Carolina?
That Bryce Young played out of his mind. Fluky game. Rams were on absolute heater. Overlooked that one. I have no doubts about the Rams. I think the Rams, they're the second favorite. They're only behind Seattle because Seattle has a bye. I think the Rams are going to roll Carolina on Saturday and set up a big time matchup with the Seahawks.
Here's the thing with the Rams. You know who they were playing without the final few weeks of the season?
Devontae Adams, 2 of their key offensive linemen. Right.
You know who are all coming back for the first round of the postseason? Devontae Adams.
This is also, it's a lot like people.
Is it DJ Humphries who's filling in on the offensive
right?
line?
And the Rams, let's be real, got bored. The Rams were destroying everyone, and they're kind of like, yeah, we're ready for January.
I have the Rams winning it. I don't feel good about it. It makes me feel sick to the inside. I am going to go put more money on the 49ers today. But
I haven't made my picks yet. I'm not saying it's a Bills-Rams Super Bowl.
No, we'll make our official picks on Friday. But if we go top 5 most likely to win a Super Bowl, I think those are pretty good lists.
The AFC is hard because, again, you look at Buffalo and you go, best quarterback, one of the best running backs. But I have concerns about the receivers. Jacksonville hasn't been there before. I left the Broncos off my list. Now, I know that some people are going to be frustrated with that.
The only reason they're on mine is because of the defense. All right, we got to break. We got to see if we're going streaking or not. As Will Ferrell once said in the movie Old School, we're going streaking, all of us to the quad. Let's go.
In the gymnasium.
And nobody went. Well, we're all going. We're following Sammy to the quad. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey.
How about it? I don't know about everyone else out there, but there's a nice extra $120 in my account today, and that's thanks to one Sammy Long. Sammy, you want to take your victory lap? Who treated us right last night?
Cade Cunningham
Yes, he
showing
did.
why he deserves to be in the MVP conversation,
Mhm.
I believe. Dylan Brooks, I knew he would come up short against his old team. Houston had a little something for him.
I thought you were betting with your heart there, but turns out your heart's in your brain today.
No, I just Booker's unbelievable. Dylan Brooks was going to try to be a menace defensively. Didn't see him getting after it offensively. And then who was our last pick? I'm blanking on what I had. Let me pull it up right now.
I
Oh,
got you.
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Despite them losing, actually, with no Jamal Murray and no Nikola Jokic, the Denver Nuggets actually beat them. But Joel Embiid came through with a slick 32.
Well, let's see if we're going streaking. We don't need to waste any more time. By the way, this is called Long Shots, where Sammy builds us out a daily fantasy sports lineup every single day. His hit rate's been pretty good in 2026. We've only done like 3 of them, and he's won 1. So he's a Hall of Fame hitter right now, batting .333 from the plate. Well done, Sammy Long. Go ahead, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that man his man.
with Long Shots.
Now, if you've never played along before, usually if Sammy wins once, the next day gets a little more outrageous. And if he wins twice, the following day gets a little more
But
outrageous.
I really go streaking. Like, it's weird. I'll hit one and then I'll win 3 straight days. And then we'll hit a little bit of a cold streak.
The kid gets hot, and he gets hot at the right time. And I will say, my biggest compliment I can give to Sammy Long, I've not had to refill the account in months. We sustained a little bit of a losing streak, and now we're back. So,
And
Sammy,
summer was tough because it's hard with baseball. Sometimes you're like, do they care on a Tuesday night in July?
we need tennis to come back in a big way. Sammy, where are we going today?
All right. NBA parlay again. We hit an all NBA, all association parlay last night. So we're going to do it again. Then obviously later on this week, we got college football playoff. We got some college basketball. We got, of course, the NFL playoffs and some fights that we will all be getting into later this week. But Memphis, San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama. Sammy, you're going to go less than 20.5 points. What are you
Sammy.
doing?
Whoa.
What are you doing? Victor Wembanyama is one of the best players in the NBA.
It's what Vegas wants you to think.
He is an amazing player. But let's look who's on the other side for Memphis. Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the best defensive bigs in the entire NBA, has won multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. And John Morant, questionable for this game. I don't know his status. He missed the last game on Sunday night against the Lakers. He was dealing with a right ankle sprain. But whether he's playing or not, Jaren Jackson Jr., it's going to feed through him. I think this is more about the Spurs. Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, that whole kind of unit, Dylan Harper, the guards, which have been excellent for the Spurs. I think it's more their night.
Is Jaren Jackson back?
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He missed this past weekend, didn't he?
No, he played this weekend. John Morant missed Sunday. He definitely played against the Lakers. I promise.
Okay.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be guarding Wembanyama all night. They also got Zach Edey. They have a pretty good front court. The problem with Memphis is that they lack some depth on the team. But Victor Wembanyama, less than 20.5 points. Again, they got a big matchup with the Lakers tomorrow night. So I think they're going to also try to get both the Lakers playing the Pelicans, and then you got Memphis playing San Antonio. I think San Antonio is going to try to get them some rest. All right, Minnesota, Miami, Tyler Herro, more than 16.5 points. This is a fun matchup. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, his over-under's at 29.5. And Minnesota it's kind of the same old Minnesota. It's like Anthony Edwards is a star, Julius Randle gets his, but where's the supporting cast? Like, where's the guys to help out Anthony Edwards? And DiVincenzo can only do so much. Tyler Herro for Miami, more than 16.5 points. Him and Wiggins kind of share it down there in Miami. I think Bam Adebayo is going to have to deal with a lot, especially with Julius Randle, with Naz Reid, with that whole kind of front court Minnesota has. I think it's a big Tyler Herro night
You
for.
realize if this wins, you have to sing the song again.
There goes my hero.
Hero. Not that one. The You Could Be My Hero, Baby.
Oh, well, there's also Jack Harlow's song called Tyler Herro. So my boy Tyler.
I don't know who
South
Jack
Beach.
Harlow is.
Shut up. You're not that old. Like,
You're right.
You know
It's
who
the
Jack
guy
Harlow
from
is.
the remix of White Men Can't Jump. Terrible movie. The original was perfect.
Original's a great movie.
Perfect movie.
We don't need to remake classics.
No, and why does a rapper get to be in the new one?
Don't hate on rappers. Will Smith opened the door for everyone. Ice-T. There's been a lot of great rappers over the years that have been active. Ice Cube. Don't be hating on rappers.
I don't know if we could call Will Smith a rapper. His music
He
isn't
started
very-
as a rapper.
Yeah, but
He's
his
the Fresh
music
Prince
isn't
of
very
Bel-Air.
good.
His music was great. What are you talking about? Summertime.
Miami's good. That's about
Miami,
it.
getting jiggy with it. Do I need to go through Will Smith's catalog?
No, please
Don't be
no.
disrespectful to Will Smith.
Will Smith, in his mind, is just
Him and Jazzy Jeff. Boom, boom, shake the room. This is. I can't believe you had the audacity to say that he was not a good rapper.
Oh,
Okay. Now I'm back to long shots. Brandon got me all distracted. It's ridiculous. Okay. Victor Wembanyama, less than 20.5 points. Tyler Harrow, more than 16.5 against Minnesota. Last pick of the night, Sacramento, Dallas. Max Christie, the former Los Angeles Laker, who was kind of the throw-in piece of that Luka Doncic deal, taking on Sacramento. Sacramento has a lot of wing players. They got DeMar DeRozan. They got, Dennis Schroeder. You got Russell Westbrook. A lot of guys that are on that wing. Zach LaVine. So he's going to need to get some big minutes tonight because Max Christie kind of is that wing player. I think a lot of the defense is going to go towards Cooper Flagg. Max Christie in the last 3 games had 25 points, 18 points, and 24. He's been on a little bit of a heater. I expect that to continue against a rough Sacramento defense. So Victor Wembanyama, less than 20.5 points. Tyler Harrow, more than 16.5 points. And Max Christie, more than 12.5. Book it. We're getting 2 association locks 2 days in a row.
I like it. Do we move some winnings into today's lineup?
You do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I like to be aggressive.
Do whatever you want to do. See, look, Wembanyama's dealing with a knee injury. That's why we're going less than.
We're doubling up. I like it, Sammy. Well done. Our buddy Jay Silves on YouTube saying, ever since the smack, I care less about that dude. Talking about the moment where Will Smith smacked
fair.
Chris Rock.
That was
totally uncalled for.
Completely
However,
uncalled for.
Chris Rock's tour right after
I saw that live at VA House.
So did I. I was actually in the on the ground. We have floor seats for that. It was one of the most amazing hours of stand-up I've ever seen in my life. So good came out of it. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. In hour number 2, we're going to chat with Benjamin Allbright, who is one of the lead dudes covering the Denver Broncos out in Denver. And that's coming up in hour 2, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sports sponsored by Unbound.org. Aztecs basketball back tonight, coming off that thrilling victory over Boise State, 110-107 in triple overtime. They'll be in Nevada taking on the Wolfpack. Nevada is a 1.5-point favorite at home. The point total is set at 141.5. You hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Schaefer on at 8 o'clock. Fletch, you get you on the pregame starting at 7. And the Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury, has parted ways with the Washington Commanders. He's expected to be a hot head coaching commodity. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
The NFL is set, but we have some differences of opinion.
Explain to me why it's not Brock Purdy's fault. And
It was Brock Purdy's fault. He played terrible.
Good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
But I don't think he's going to be the reason they don't get to the Super Bowl. I'm glad that that's where you're deciding to go with this, Sammy. And the defense played like dog poop.
You're putting more blame on the defense for scoring 3 points at home.
Yeah, because there wasn't a fourth quarter, Sammy. The entire fourth quarter was held up by the Seahawks with the football.
And the college football playoff semis start later this week. Who will meet up in South Beach for the championship? San Diego State is back after Saturday's wild game. Can the Scarlet and Black grab another Mountain West win? Plus,
Tate Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons, more than 27.5 points.
It's the truth.
Joel Embiid, more than 25.5 against Denver tonight.
Well, I got it right here. Yeah.
And Dylan Brooks playing his old team in Houston, less than 18.5.
Yes, you heard correctly.
I like it. We need a winner here to kick off Monday, our first full week of 2026.
now live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's the Flex Zone.
Ask and you shall receive. Sammy Long delivered us a winner last night, so thank you, Sammy. You're making us all some money. If you missed our long shots for this or today's show, we will reset it at the end of the show today. All right, a little bit of a departure here from what we would normally be talking about this week at this time, because obviously the NFL postseason coming up this weekend. We will get right back to it. Don't you worry. Aztecs with a big matchup out in Nevada tonight. We will get to that this hour as well. But if you've never listened to this show, first of all, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We're damn glad to have you. Thank you for being here. But secondly, Sammy and I do maybe the only people in San Diego media and radio that legitimately care about fights and legitimately care about the fight world. Sammy is a boxing savant. I fell in love with the UFC during COVID when it was the only sport on, and it's carried me through here. And I will also say this, say what you will about Dana White and the UFC. You could love him, you could hate him, whatever. The dude is a genius when it comes to marketing his sport and giving us what we want. For years, the biggest complaint about the UFC and the fight world has been, Sammy,
Pay-per-views.
cost too much to watch, cost too much to be a fan, have to go to illegal streaming services. Oh, you're going to shut down all the illegal streaming services. Okay, well, say goodbye to a lot of your audience. And that's just the way it goes. And so now the UFC has pivoted. And I think boxing has done this to a lesser extent with Jake Paul, who sort of come in and reinvented the wheel and moved a ton of the main fights that we want to see over to Netflix. Turki Al-Sheikh did a really good job with that. He was a big part of that. I think Turki Al-Sheikh may have saved the boxing world.
You 100% say boxing.
So, and that's where we're at now. So Dana White strikes the deal, by the way, made a ton of money for the UFC to bring the UFC over to Paramount Plus, where if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, you will no longer have to pay a pay-per-view. And I believe Paramount Plus is like $9.99 a month.
I literally got it last night. I paid $120 for the year, but yeah, it's $10 a month.
$10 a month. So if that's where you're going, man, Dana White, you're giving us probably 2-3 good cards per month, whether it's a fight night or whether it's a main event. For sure, one awesome card per month for the year. I would happily pay $10 a month for that, and I do. Now, here's where it gets even more awesome. When you talk about giving fans what they want, it's matchups like the first big card we have in 2026. Paddy Pimblett taking on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is a fan favorite, has been part of some really, really memorable UFC fights. Paddy Pimblett is this rising superstar who has crazy power and is an excellent wrestler and has that personality that the UFC needs to get it to the next level. We had Paddy Pimblett in studio. At one point, if you remember, he brought us all bottles of whiskey that were signed. Mine is still prominently displayed in my living room. But Paddy Pimblett has that personality that is just infectious. And yes, his entire entourage walked into the studio and stank the whole thing up because it smelled like weed because they were definitely smoking right outside the room. But when you hear Paddy Pimblett talk, people listen. and he gives you those viral moments. And he gives you those viral knockouts. So that's the first big fight. And not to mention, Sammy's very own muscle mommy, the lady he's in love with, Kayla Harrison, is also on this card, and she's fighting Amanda Nunes, who retired. Amanda Nunes, who's one of the scariest women to ever walk the earth. This is such a good card, and it's the first card that's going to be free to people who have Paramount Plus. I love what the UFC is doing here. This is so much fun.
And then the week after, they got a big one. They got Volk and Lopez. This is big.
And then Sean Strickland's on the card right after that.
Yeah, and Sean O'Malley's the third fight on the first card,
right,
on January 24th.
So Sean, who was like the UFC golden child a year ago.
UFC and boxing have had two very different problems of the year. Boxing's problem has been it's been siloed with promoters. There's too many belts. You had Top Rank, you had PBC, you had DAZN, or you had Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, all the guys overseas, Frank Warren. So they were more likely to make fights within their own stable, even though it's not the best fight, because they got to keep all the money. They got to keep all the profits. So you didn't, rarely when you had the best fight, your Tanks versus Shakurs or your guys like that, would they cross over unless it was a fight that was guaranteed to sell, like Floyd and Manny. But boxing's had stars. Boxing has had stars. Problem is stars haven't fought each other. The UFC has had a different problem. The UFC is a great model with Dana White where everyone fights each other. If you're the champ, you're fighting the number one contender. You're fighting the number two contender if the number one's not available. There is one list and you're going to fight on that list. The UFC's problem is ever since Conor McGregor, they have been searching for stars. And some of the stars, some of the guys who own belts aren't exactly sellers in America.
And it's parity. Like, you have people who are beating people. Alexander Pereira is the one like unbeatable guy left in the UFC. He just beats everybody.
Right. And he's
boring.
This is like a lot of the UFC champions are Russian. Historically, Russian stars in whether it's boxing or the UFC, when it was Klitschko, whatever, hasn't sold well in America. That's kind of been a long known thing. And it hasn't, the market of America hasn't really bought into pay-per-views with that. But to your point about Paramount Plus, now it's free. Now, why do people get involved in a fight? You're basically what a fight, a way of promotion is. You're trying to convince you why you should watch these two dudes or two women fight. Whether it's their backstory, maybe you really like one fighter. Maybe you do the Floyd thing where you either love Floyd or you hated Floyd and you paid $80 every time because you wanted to see him lose. You literally wanted to be there. You wanted to be there when he got knocked out. Unfortunately, if you were a Floyd hater, that never happened. So now with Paramount Plus, with UFC on it, you get to watch guys and girls' careers grow and start from the bottom where they're just contenders to working their way up to champs. Whereas it's hard when you're like trying to sell someone, hey, this guy's going to be really good one day, pay $80 for him. People are like, what? Like, I don't want to do that. Right. I don't want to pay $80 for that. Now getting to watch them grow, it's going to be huge for the sport, for the fight world.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I think they're heading in the right direction, and this first card is going to be unreal, and they're going back to back with it. So that's January 24th, and then January 31st, there's another main event card that has Volk, like you said, and Diego Lopez. Right after that, it's Strickland's on a fight night, and then UFC 326 is awesome also. It's Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira, who have been part of some of the most historic UFC fights ever. Our buddy Sir Will on YouTube saying MMA/UFC became more of an international sport like boxing did, less American talent at the top. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but you need those international guys to be wildly entertaining. And right now, guys like Khamzat, who are so good, are just kind of boring because they just beat guys to death.
Right.
And Devishvili just wrestles someone to death.
People made the point, like, think about, there's a lot of American heavyweights in the UFC and boxing. And guess what sport they're playing? Football.
Yeah.
Basketball.
That's a great point.
They're playing other sports because
elite athletes are going elsewhere. Meanwhile, there's where's Marab from? Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah. Not our Georgia.
Not Georgia, Atlanta. Yeah, Georgia.
Overseas Georgia. But there is such a culture there of you're going to be training starting at like 11 years old and you're going to work your ass off to get to the top, and you might fight boring, but you're going to be a champion.
Right. In Mexico, soccer, and then it's boxing. In Brazil, it's soccer, or then it's jiu-jitsu and martial arts. So that's where a lot of the champs are going. Whereas in America, there's a reason why there hasn't been a great American heavyweight recently, because how many guys in the NFL? Can you imagine if Shaq back in the day was like, I'm going to be a fighter? I mean, and not a basketball player. Like, there's a lot. If there were guys were funneled into fighting, there'd be a lot more American champs in both sports.
You think about it, guys like Frank Gore after the fact go to boxing. And he did okay. Like, he was a pretty good boxer.
Right. If his whole career was training to be a boxer, he probably would have been a pretty good boxer.
For sure. All right. It's San Diego Sports 760. Let's get to the big three here. But the news is the UFC's become much more accessible now, and I can't wait for it. I think it's a good thing. I promise you, I didn't think I'd ever fall in love with that world. I thought it was too gruesome for me, blah, blah, blah. During COVID, I sat down and enjoyed it and got into the storylines of it. And I promise you, it could be a sport for you too if you have some room in your heart for it. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big three here of hour number 2. Go ahead, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
I mean, coworkers.
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
949, great question. Said, didn't Patty the Batty kiss Fletch? He did not. Patty the Batty immediately used a slur against me, actually, the second he walked into the room, which we won't repeat on air, but was, I guess, funny at the time. He also, it was the same show that comedian, I'm Rocky Dale Davis, did kiss me, and that was a weird show. It was a Bar Cart Friday.
Wow,
a lot of stuff
there's a lot
happened.
going on there.
A lot of stuff happened that day, but good memory, 949, just wrong person. All right, Sammy, where are we going in sports?
All right, what's the best quarterback matchup in the first round of the NFL playoffs?
Ooh, I like that question. Give me a second here, Sammy. If you got one off the top of your head, let me look.
I'm going to go, there's a lot of good ones to pick. I'm going to go Jordan Love and Caleb Williams, and people might go, what, those aren't the two best quarterbacks in the NFL, in the NFL playoffs, but I think it says a lot going forward because, so Matt LaFleur, crazy stat. Do you realize the last 4 years, they've been the 7th seed in every postseason? Every postseason, the Packers the last 4 years have been the 7th seed. And Matt LaFleur gets a lot of praise, which I think is due. Jordan Love got paid to be the guy going forward. He was, paid to be that dude. And at times he's been that guy. He had a huge win over the Cowboys in the playoffs, almost beat the Niners in the divisional round. There's also been some clunkers. And then you got Caleb Williams, who in his second year has the Bears in the number 2 spot. They're division rivals, so Jordan Love and Caleb Williams aren't going away. Who's going to win this one? Who's going to play better? There's a lot of questions about, do people really believe in the Bears yet? Is it on the defense? The offense has really taken off the last couple months of the year, but will they kind of revert back to that? And then on the other side, can Jordan Love elevate the team with Micah Parsons and some of the defensive pieces being out? I'm really excited for that matchup because it's going to tell us a lot about the NFC North moving forward.
I like your pick, and I love the reasons why. I'm actually, and you might think this is a homer pick, but I am going to go Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts. Not for the reason where I think they're two of the best quarterbacks who are in the remaining field, but because how similar are their storylines? Seriously, when you think about it, how many quarterbacks have gotten to a Super Bowl the last 10 years, and all everybody can say is, yeah, they did it because of the team. Those two guys are the ones. Like, Jalen Hurts has had some really excellent performances in the postseason. Brock Purdy has too. And so you look at those two guys, and while Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl, Purdy's only been to a Super Bowl. Those two guys have gotten their teams to places where nobody thought they would when they were drafted. And both of those guys routinely get hate because of how they play quarterback. And they both have a great opportunity here to shut up a lot of people like me, a lot of people like Sammy, and I'm looking forward to it in a big way.
I'm with that one because there's a lot of stakes. To your point about both guys have been critiqued for the team wins in spite of them.
Stuff out of their control. Like, okay, Jalen Hurts is really good at the tush push. Maybe the Eagles are the only team who can perfect that. Is that Jalen Hurts' fault? Brock Purdy had a lot of talent around him. Is that Brock Purdy's fault?
Right. So I think it's in a game where by the way, the Niners and the Eagles have been the perennial players in the NFC the last 5 years, the last 6 years. So who's going to come out in that game? I like that pick. I'm also thought about Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen. But
that's a good one. The future of the AFC.
Even Drake May and Herbert. That's pretty good.
And you think about Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, they've sort of had flip-flop careers. Josh Allen coming out, everyone assumed he was going to be a bust. It was just another guy that they fell in love with the big arm, right? Trevor Lawrence was assumed to be the golden
chosen child.
Right. And the way these things have gone, like you would say Josh Allen's a little more the golden child right now, and Trevor Lawrence was the one who was damn near a bust.
Let's actually head to the MLB. Now, normally we're not talking MLB in the beginning of January because there's not much going on. But the MLB offseason, so free agents are signed anytime. It's not like the NFL, not like the NBA, where there is a certain day where all the signings come down and it's kind of an event. It's very much, it happens at the winter meetings. But per ESPN, the top 4 MLB free agents are in a standoff. Per ESPN, it's, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Bo Bichette, and Cody Bellinger. None of the top 4 are signing because they're all waiting to see when the other guy will sign so they can break that number. A, do you think the Padres should be in or can get in on any of these guys? And number 2, like, what is your kind of reaction to the MLB, just like off-season free agency as a whole?
This happened a few years ago with a couple of starting pitchers, and I'm forgetting who it was, that they both were just waiting for the other guy to sign so they could go beat it by $5 million. This is kind of how baseball goes. Baseball's offseason is a long one.
And teams like the Padres, who you felt like maybe fizzled out at the wrong time last year and could have gotten further than they did, you want them to make this big splashy move right away. Well, the dirty little secret is players and teams kind of want to wait until right before spring training to make these moves. They have fiduciary responsibilities to people who have a lot of money invested in their team to make the team look as cheap as possible this time of year, and then maybe sneak in some spending right before the season. I don't think that the Padres are going to be in on one of these massive 5-year, hundreds of $1 million deals. I don't think that's where they're at right now. I do think they make a bunch of moves, probably after all those guys get signed for the scraps that are left over. I don't think it's going to be anything that like blows our mind.
Yeah, it's a shame the Padres aren't in on a lot of these guys.
I'm curious how many of those guys are Scott Boras clients, by the way.
I don't know that.
Because he could be doing this on purpose.
I'm sure he is. I know Bellinger is, right? I think Bellinger is. But yeah, it's tough because like you look at the Padres, it's just like we keep belaboring the point. It's like they have a lot of talent on the team. Now I give them a lot of props for not trading Nick Pivetta so far and then re-signing Michael King. That is huge heading into the season, because without re-signing Michael King, you're looking at the Padres rotation going, who? Like Nick Pivetta, and then you're relying a lot on Joe Musgrove, who's getting up there in age a little bit, coming off a Tommy John surgery to be your number 2 starter. It's huge that Michael King is back. I give AJ Preller a lot of credit for the fact that he's been able to manipulate these deals, these Nick Pivettas, these Michael King deals. I know the Michael King deal is 3-year, $75 million, but it's really a series of 1-year, $25 million contracts. AJ Preller deserves a lot of love for being able to kind of, despite the Padres ownership not giving them the bankroll that you would like to see the Padres be able to work with, I think AJ Preller deserves a lot of love for what he's been able to do. But this team does need some positional talent, because I think just relying on Tatis and Machado and everyone in San Diego hoping that they're going to get it together in the postseason. Now, Tatis has had some big postseasons. We know Machado has really struggled with a 209 career batting average in the postseason. They need some juice. They need some juice in the batting order. You're hoping on a little bit of a bounce back from Jake Cronenworth and some of these guys, but like they're probably not on him. But like a Bo Bichette would be exactly what the Padres need.
No, they did. They went and got an infielder out of KBO.
Yeah, the problem
was
with
like
that
a month ago, probably now, who apparently has aspirations to play right away. We'll see.
It's just it's that's great. I'm not crapping on it because we haven't seen him play.
Song, I think was his last name.
Proven commodities.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm with you.
It's a lot of hoping they can be something. That's great. It's great that the Padres system and development has shown that they can actually develop some of these guys and actually become legit players. But these other guys are like actually proven commodities that have played well in the postseason.
I do think there's going to be a name that's been on the Padres for the last few years who is not on the Padres starting next season.
Well, Cronenworth's the guy that always gets thrown out there.
Cronenworth, I would imagine, is not on the Padres to start the year, but I think there may be another name that we've just assumed is going to be a Padre next year that won't be. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You got one more? Or is that it?
Yeah, we'll get to break. We'll get to it on the other side.
Sounds good. San Diego Sports 760. Benjamin Allbright coming up in about 10 minutes. Coming up next, though, your final preview for San Diego State, Nevada later on tonight in Nevada. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Valley View Casino and Hotel. Dine at the Valley View Casino and Hotel's Black and Blue Steakhouse, where you can enjoy the finest steaks cooked to perfection, the freshest seafood, and the most decadent desserts as you sip on hand-selected wines and impressive craft cocktails. Plus, for only $75, you can enjoy an incredible 3-course meal from their signature menu. Dining specials are available 4 nights a week, Thursday through Sunday, starting at 4:30 p.m. So make your reservation now at Black and Blue Steakhouse, voted the best casino steakhouse in San Diego. And while you're there, don't forget to join the Players Club to get your $20 to Black and Blue Steakhouse. Signing up is always quick, easy, and free. Plus, now when you join the Players Club, you'll receive over $200 in free offers to use at San Diego's favorite casino. We're talking about free offers to enjoy instantly at the casino, including $10 of more play. That's free slot play, $10 match play, $20 to Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints, $10 to the cafe, $10 to Sticks or Snacks, where I just ate over the weekend, $10 to Sweets, $10 to Corner Market, a free collectible t-shirt, and 2 free Maine Lobster buffets when you upgrade from red card to blue card status. And the more you use your Players Card Club on your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you'll earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, invitations to exclusive events, and more. So don't miss out. Visit Valley View Casino and Hotel and join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. Benjamin Allbright coming up in a few minutes here on San Diego Sports 760. He'll join us to talk about the number 1 seed, the Denver Broncos in the AFC. Can't wait for that. Sammy, you staying on with John Schaefer for a little bit today?
I am. I got to help the boy out. He's got 4 hours, him and Brent. You know what I mean? And he's got to call a game. So I'm like, I gotta give him a little bit of a break.
Very good, man. Well, Benjamin Allbright's going to be joining us here in a few minutes, so we'll make this kind of quick and snappy. But John Schaefer is in Nevada. Nevada is where San Diego State basketball is going to be playing a little bit later tonight. We've seen some encouraging signs from the Aztecs over the last few games. I think the defense is starting to pick it up a little bit. They built that huge lead against Boise State. Yeah, they gave it away, but then they fought back hard in overtime. I'm excited to see what kind of product we get tonight. I've been talking about this with Schaefer kind of off to the side, but it's huge for this Aztecs team to get into a little bit of normality with the schedule, because the beginning of the season was weird. They would play on like a Wednesday and then have 10 days off, play on a weekend, and then play 3 games in a row. All of a sudden, the fact that they're back to 2 games a week on a Tuesday, on a Saturday, or on a weekday and a weekend is good for this Aztecs team. And I think we're about to see them hit a really nice stride here in Mountain West play. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Benjamin Allbright on the other side. He covers the Denver Broncos on their flagship radio station. We'll talk about the number 1 seed in the AFC coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by the Positive Coaching Alliance. San Diego State be back in action at Aztecs Hoops tonight at 8 o'clock. They're actually currently plus 110 on the money line. They're dogs in Nevada by 1.5. The point total is set at 141.5. Schaefer will get you going at 8 o'clock. Fletch will get you on the pregame starting at 7. And then the drama out of the college football playoff. Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator for the Ole Miss Rebels, Lane Kiffin is allowing to coach in Ole Miss in the college football semifinal, despite him on his way to LSU. The running backs coach will also be allowed to coach. The other 4 assistants will not. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long taking you up till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer will take over then. We're going to do a little tour here over the next few days, going through some of the teams in the NFL postseason. And I figured we might as well start with the number 1 seed in the AFC. That would be the Denver Broncos. So Benjamin Allbright, who's been with the flagship out in Denver for years now, joining us today on the phone. Benjamin, how we doing, sir? Thank you for your time.
Doing pretty well. It's nice and sunny out here in Denver and enjoying a week off.
That's crazy. It has not been sunny in San Diego, which is the opposite of what it should be. All right, Benjamin, you look at the Denver Broncos and look, I'll be honest, I've been kind of critical of the Broncos this year, which is bizarre to say, considering they are the 1 seed in the AFC postseason. But you look at some of their wins, and the overseas win against the Jets was not very convincing. And then it's really been a fourth quarter team all year. What would you grade, as somebody who's been watching closely all season long, how would you grade out the Denver Broncos performance this season?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been critical of them. We've been watching this team all year, and, you get the number 1 seed, and I'm still asking the same question. Is this team any good? And it's tough because they've had a lot of lucky breaks. You mentioned getting the Jets, who are terrible this year. They got to play a lot of backup quarterbacks. You get to play Davis Webb. You get to play Chris Oladukin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sounds like a sound effect from Street Fighter. And then you get last week, against the Chargers, you get Trey Lance. In these games, they weren't exactly impressive victories. Now, I will say that, on the front end, you don't have to be the highest scoring team in the country, just the highest scoring team in the stadium that day. But there's a tendency for this Broncos team to either play down to their level of competition or rely on their defense to bail them out of pedestrian offensive performances to be charitable. And so that's sort of been the story this year. The defense carries this football team, and then the offense somehow finds some magic in the fourth quarter when they abandon everything Sean Payton tries to do and go up tempo, which should be telling on what this team should probably be doing all the time. But I digress.
Do you think people are where do you evaluate Bo Nix? Do you think people are overly critical of him, or do you think people are too kind to him? Where are you at with Bo Nix?
I think it goes both ways. I think there are people that have criticisms of him that I think are frankly ridiculous. And then I think there are other times where those criticisms are warranted. I mean, he's a guy who early in games kind of runs a little hot in terms of, emotion. I think that causes him to be inaccurate with the football. He's had slow starts most of the season throughout games until he finally settles into a groove. I think he's a guy who's still working on maybe hanging on to the football for a minute and letting things develop instead of being the guy who just dumps it down real fast to avoid a sack, which has kind of been his MO most of the year. And so, you look at you want to look at something interesting. You can look at the fact that Bo Nix has the most passing attempts in the NFL this year, which is bizarre. It shouldn't be that way, and it'd be a successful offense. And then you look at his yardage comparison compared to the 2 guys behind him. The 2 guys behind him are Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford in terms of attempts, but their yardage is significantly higher. And that sort of shows you what Bo Nix is. He's going to make a lot of throws around the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, and they're hoping to bait safeties and DBs into coming down and maybe take a deep shot they hope will work. And that's been the MO. I think Bo's a smart guy. I think he just needs to learn how to trust to let the play develop a little bit rather than trying to get rid of the ball, as quickly as possible.
Benjamin Allbright, Broncos insider with KOA in Colorado, joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760. The Broncos defense, there's no doubt it's one of the best ones in all of football. And I think we talk about these low-scoring games where the Broncos offense comes alive in the fourth quarter. The only reason they've been able to is because the defense has really put the clamps on most of the league this year. If they win the Super Bowl, How much does the offense have to do with this postseason run? Because we expect the defense to be there.
The offense has got to get to 20. I mean, in order to win games, the offense has got to get to 20, 24 points. The defense can hold people mostly under that and provide you with opportunities. So that's the thing. That's the key number for the offense. You get to 24 points, you win. You don't, then it's anybody's guess. And that's kind of been the way it's been, most of the year. In terms of the offense overall, it's really been a struggle in the back half of the year because no J.K. Dobbins. That was by far their best weapon, by far their best running back. And they've turned to R.J. Harvey, who's a real boomer bust guy. You'll get 14 or 15 1 or 2 yard carries before he busts one for 50. The averages, I guess look okay, but the reality is they've got to figure something out with him. Harvey's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. He's phenomenal at it, but he doesn't run the ball with instincts and vision. And in fact, Jaleel McLaughlin is probably going to get a lot more run in the playoffs because he just is frankly better at it.
So looking at the Broncos' potential, matchups in the divisional, it could be the Chargers, Bills, Texans, or Steelers. Who do you think is the worst matchup for Denver?
I think it's the Chargers. I think the wild card teams are the worst matchups, and the division winners are the easy ones. And I say easy, relatively speaking. I don't think anybody wants any part of the Bills, knowing knowing how they come alive and all that kind of stuff in the playoffs and what they've been on lately. But I think the Chargers at full strength are probably the toughest team. I mean, you've got a defense that's smothering. When you get Herbert out there, man, it's tough. And so I think the Texans, they're interesting. Their defense, I call it the most disrespectful defense in the league because they don't disguise anything and they don't blitz. They're running cover 3 and they're just daring you to beat it. And they're so good at it. But the offensive side has been a real hit or miss for them this year. The Steelers, I mean, they backdoored their way into the playoffs. I don't think anybody's afraid of them. Jacksonville and Buffalo, I think, are both teams that people have their eye on. And then I think the Chargers. I'm, to be honest with you, as a Broncos fan, I would rather, if all things being equal, them take on the Patriots because I think they're easier to beat than the Chargers.
The year that Vance Joseph had has been amazing as the defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos. It's helped out by having the Jimmies and Joes on the defensive side for Denver. But Vance Joseph is getting a lot of buzz around the league as a potential head coach once again next year. Do you think the Broncos keep him?
I don't think he'll be back. I think even if he doesn't get a head coaching job, I think he'll move on. There's a little bit of friction there with the head coach and the head coach who has a bit of an ego problem and doesn't like his offense being overshadowed and all that kind of stuff. And the defense has clearly carried the team all year. There was a little altercation last year in the playoffs where they were getting shelled by Buffalo. They weren't in the first half. And, Vance was kind of reminding Sean to stick with the game plan, and Sean abandoned the offensive game plan they had of running the football and tried to throw it everywhere. And of course, then they got shelled in the second half. So there's a little bit of friction there. There's been a little bit of friction there. And I would be maybe not shocked, but I'd be surprised if Vance Joseph were back.
So what's a successful playoff run for the Broncos? Is it winning a game? Is it making the Super Bowl? Like what are you going to look back and go, okay, that was a good first year in the or second year in the playoffs for Bo Nix?
Well, I mean, you've got to win a game at minimum. You lose in the opening round here, and all of a sudden people are going to start, wondering about, Sean Payton and this offense, that kind of stuff, whether or not they can just win some regular season games and then not do anything against good teams. So I think there's that. I think fans would be disappointed in anything less than getting to the AFC Championship game. I think you get any more than that, I think it's gravy. You make the Super Bowl, they're rejoicing, but nobody would have predicted that to start this season.
For some reason, Benjamin, there's a ton of Denver Bronco fans here in San Diego, and I know why. It's a commuter town. A bunch of people moved to San Diego, but you look at them, and it feels like about half the fan base is not sold on Bo Nix at all. And I don't know if that's true also out in Denver. I just know from the people I talk to here. Are you sold on Bo Nix, and how much does this postseason mean to the future of Bo Nix with the Denver Broncos?
Well, Bo's going to be back next year either way, and the unquestioned starter. So I would suggest the playoffs don't mean that much. I would suggest that if they lose right away and it's bad, and then you come back next year and it's bad, then you're asking some questions. But right now, I mean, we've seen enough to know that Bo is at least a serviceable starter in this league. He's no worse than Derek Carr was, and Derek Carr carved out over a decade-long career, in the NFL. So I would suggest that he's at minimum a serviceable starter. The question is he a guy who can put a team on his back? Well, we've seen him do that in the fourth quarter of games this year. Can he put together entire games of doing that? So, I wouldn't say, I don't know how to answer if I'm sold on Bo. I kind of see what he is and I see what he could be, and I hope those two players meet.
All right, Benjamin Allbright. You follow him on social media at Allbright NFL. He covers the Broncos for KOA Colorado. Good to hear your voice, man. One of the best voices in radio. I've always said that every time we've had you on the show. But it's great chatting with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate it. Anytime.
All right, Benjamin Allbright covering the Broncos out in Colorado. Let us know on the text line where you want us to go next. We're going to try to cover all these NFL postseason teams here over the next few days. Stack up some good guests. We got some good ones. We'll get to them all on the other side, as well as a review of Sammy's long shots, which cashed for us last night. We'll see if he can do it 2 days in a row at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 for final time today. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. But you're going to hear Sammy in just a little bit. He's jumping on with Schaefer, who's out in Nevada, getting ready for the Aztecs basketball game tonight, taking on the Wolfpack up in Reno. Going to be a good one tonight, San Diego State and Nevada. Has that line moved at all, Sammy? If you don't have it in front of you,
Staying
it's
at
okay.
one. No, I just checked it like 5 minutes ago. It's staying at 1.5. So could see some late action. Hopefully people start betting Nevada, so it jacks that lineup that way. So
yeah,
then,
we want it like 2.5, 3.5.
yeah, let them be favored by 10.5 points. It's better for the Aztecs if they're dogs in Vegas because, again, what Fletch said earlier, that's what Ken Palm judges off. Betting lines matter.
Well,
even if you're not betting on college basketball, they really matter.
I'd say the line usually gets set based on what the KenPom prediction is. And so KenPom might have the Aztecs a little undervalued here, which I think is a good thing for San Diego State, who needs to go on a run here where they rip off a few big wins. All right, text line from the 619. This was back when we were talking about the best quarterback matchup in the first round of the postseason. 619 says, I knew Sammy would pick his man crush, Caleb Williams, as the best quarterback matchup. LOL.
Hey,
That is an LOL, but I do agree with Sammy. That's an excellent one to watch for the future of the NFL.
he was saying I'm biased because I'm a Caleb Williams fan. Watched him his whole career. It's USC days. But
think about like the NFC North is a great, and I mean great division in football, a historic division.
Yes.
Those two might be the future of the NFC North.
That's why I picked that matchup because so heading into the year, it's like, what's McCarthy going to be? McCarthy looks bad now.
Terrible.
Well,
I wish Sam Darnold would have stayed in that division.
Right. Are we gonna write McCarthy off? Yes. I don't know. From what I've seen, I don't see it. I didn't really see it when he got drafted in Michigan, but I guess he could have a second year bounce back. We'll see. Leash is probably short. And Jared Goff, great player, but he's getting up there in age a little bit. And also, if you're the Lions, at what point can you keep running the same team back? And it's gotten progressively worse. You went to the NFC Championship game, then you went to the divisional round, then you just missed the playoffs. So at what point are they looking for a change there? Love and Caleb aren't going anywhere. So that's why I picked that matchup.
858 asks a question that I know I am going to have a different answer to than Sammy Long. So let's just let this out there. And Sammy, I want you to do your best to wait a little bit before you answer.
I won't say anything.
858 says, if Josh Allen gets it done this year, would you put an asterisk on the title? I would not. I would not, because it's not Josh Allen's fault that the Chiefs sucked. We all know why this question is asked. It's because Patrick Mahomes isn't in the postseason. The truth of the matter is Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, even I'll give Lamar Jackson a little bit of grief because his kicker messed it up, and Joe Burrow were not good enough to get to the postseason this year.
Well, their teams weren't good enough.
Josh Allen was. And Josh Allen also had a bad situation around him. No wide receivers, terrible defense all year long. And Josh Allen is there and they are not. Josh Allen is there.
That's not the question.
And they are not. So no.
That's not the question.
No asterisks. If he wins the Super Bowl, which in my opinion is one of the hardest things in sports to do.
It is the hardest sport to win a championship in.
Josh Allen does not have any asterisks. He wins the Super Bowl. He probably gets the Super Bowl MVP. Congratulations to Josh Allen.
Of course they're going to give it to their media darling, Josh Allen, if he wins.
We're such a hater.
Are you kidding me? You think the Bills are winning a Super Bowl and Josh Allen is not getting Super Bowl MVP?
Of course he's going to. But is it his fault that the Chiefs suck this year?
No, it's not. But here's my thing. Is there an you have to come at that the right way. Will I come on here and give Josh Allen all the credit in the world and will he shut people like me up who criticize Josh Allen 1,000,000%? I will give Josh Allen
one off season
all of his flowers. But let's take this back. Steve Hartman was on our show on Friday talking about winning time, okay, between the Lakers and Celtics stock. And the late great Dr. Jerry Buss said when the Lakers beat the Sixers, said they won their title, we won ours. Talking about Boston, the Lakers said it doesn't mean S until you beat Boston. That's kind of was the feeling. It's so
it doesn't mean anything for Josh Allen until he beats the Chiefs in the postseason.
That's an exaggeration. Obviously, it means nothing. If he gets a ring, we give Josh Allen his flowers. But let's also talk about how Patrick Mahomes has whooped him 4 times in the postseason. Joe Burrow has beat him once in the postseason. He's beaten Lamar. I'll give him that. Although that game, I didn't think Allen was great in that game. It was more about Lamar's offense letting him down. I'm going to give him credit. So in asterisk, I'm going to give him credit. But yes, of course there's going to be an asterisk without Burrow, Mahomes, and Lamar there. And if somehow the Niners and Bills make the Super Bowl, I mean, that will be the all consolation prize Super Bowl that we have ever seen. Could you imagine that?
I'm not able to look it up fast enough. I'm trying to here.
It's like a second place trophy.
Okay, I was going to use an example of the 2007 Colts with Peyton Manning winning the Super Bowl, but I do think he beat the Patriots on that run to the Super Bowl in the postseason.
Because Manning eventually beat Brady.
Right. So
and he beat him with the Broncos in 2015, the
right.
AFC Championship game. He beat Brady.
Right. Okay. I mean,
so will he get credit?
Leave it at that. Josh Allen will deserve credit if he wins the Super Bowl with this
100%.
defense. With this defense with the Bills,
100%, he deserves
because
credit.
it's going to take a superhuman effort from him. He's going to have to do most of it.
Yes. And will we give him all the credit in the world? Yes, we will. But if there's an asterisk, you damn right there's an asterisk.
God, if the Niners get knocked out by the Eagles, which probably is going to happen, I've never been a bigger Bills fan in my life. 484 Fletch, have you been sleeping this week knowing that Kendall has been plotting your demise? Have you been gripping your pillow tight, sleeping with one eye open?
Where does this come from?
It's coming from the fact that this Sunday, when the 49ers are playing, I will be watching the game on my phone in the middle of my nephew's
so I was talking with people about this because they heard this segment and they were like, yo, what's with Fletch?
Dude, I don't have a... Were you talking to married
put
people?
Put your foot down.
Were you talking to married people?
Put some self-respect on your name. There has to be a line.
Were you talking to married people?
You can't. No. Actually, yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Well, those people are fakers then.
No,
when
because
something is important to your wife,
you don't just
it trumps everything.
You don't just walk all over yourself at every cost.
Here's the thing. We were supposed to be going the night before. You know why I'm not? Because I'm working the Aztecs basketball game on Saturday night.
All right. Well, then again, if you want to get walked all over, that's fine.
It's not being walked all over. It's being married, dude.
It's a play. The kids don't even want to be there. The parents don't want to be there. Who wants to be there?
619 says Sammy can't even pronounce asterisks.
I can pronounce asterisk.
Sammy.
How do you pronounce asterisk? Asterisk.
Sammy, asterisks. Sammy calling Trevor Lawrence the chosen boy when it's the chosen one or the golden boy is another example as to why he has CTE. Sammy, do you have a bunch of concussions? I don't know about?
Okay, 619. I saw this text. It's a very fair criticism. When I said it, I was like, I meant to say chosen one, and I said chosen boy. So you know what? I'm gonna give 619 that.
Chosen one, golden boy, the Messiah, all those things used to describe Trevor Lawrence when he was coming to Jacksonville.
The chosen boy.
So far, none of them have worked out. Unless, dude, if Jacksonville can absolutely win the Super Bowl.
What happens if Trevor Lawrence wins the Super Bowl? What are we talking about legacy?
Everyone in the field, I will put my foot down on this. Everyone in the field except for the Carolina Panthers, I think, has a legitimate path to the Super Bowl.
But Pittsburgh?
I think they do.
If Aaron Rodgers wins one?
If TJ Watt goes on a run, which he's absolutely capable of playing like the best defense of his life over the next few games, they absolutely do have a shot to win the Super Bowl. It's wide open. That's why the asterisk argument with Josh Allen, I think, kind of goes out the window because this is going to be one of the more impressive Super Bowl winners we've ever seen.
I can't wait for this weekend.
You line 10 people up right now, you're probably getting 7 different answers on who's winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because because no one's proven it. No one outside of Philly, and Philly has massive problems.
They have no idea who they are. If they can solve an identity crisis in 1 week's time from last week with all their players sitting,
I will shut up about criticizing Nick Sirianni if they don't win a Super Bowl or get there.
If they completely solve their identity crisis over the last week and a half, Nick Sirianni gets a ton of credit. All right, we're done for the day. John Schaefer and Sammy Long's going to be helping out too. Coming up next, I'll be back with you at 7:00 tonight, getting you ready for San Diego State, Nevada. Can't wait for that. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.